The 2025 Ford FMX 8C X4 duty truck is not a machine you glance at once and forget. It's the kind of truck that lingers in your head, not because of outlandish gimmicks or flashy one-liners, but because it feels like the answer to questions you didn't even know you were asking. It sits in the heavy-duty lineup like a seasoned veteran who's seen every road, every job site, every storm, and still shows up Monday morning ready to go again. At first glance, it is every inch a Ford, bold stance, squared shoulders, signature lighting. But stay with it a while, and the details start to reveal themselves. The grille, for example, isn't just another slab of chrome for the sake of style. It's cut to maximize airflow into a cooling system designed for punishment. The bumper isn't a showpiece, it's steel with recovery points, a design that understands trucks aren't fashion accessories, but real tools. Even the profile, tall and muscular, is sculpted with loading and visibility in mind, not just looks for the dealer lot. And then you open the tailgate, which doesn't just drop but eases down, ready to double as a workbench with slots and ports for clamps and accessories. Ford knows where the truck earns its keep, in the grit of work and in the details that make that work less of a grind. Beneath the sheet metal is where the FMX 8C X4 begins to flex its seriousness. The fully boxed frame is not just rigid, it's targeted in its strength, reinforcing the exact places where torsion and twisting forces chew up lesser builds. Up by the front horns where plows and winches hang, down near the rear crossmembers. Where heavy goosenecks push and twist, these places are beefed up so the frame doesn't just hold, it resists the fatigue of years of abuse. What that means in practice is a truck that doesn't skitter around with a heavy tongue load, a truck that doesn't force you into constant little corrections when crosswinds slap at your trailer. You don't notice the engineering because you don't have to fight the steering wheel, and that calmness under stress, that predictability, is worth as much as raw power. Power, of course, is still what everyone wants to know first. Ford brings the FMX 8C X4 with a choice of engines, the centerpiece being a V8 turbo diesel, tuned not for bragging rights on a spec sheet, but for usable torque that comes early and holds steady. Numbers are high, but more importantly, the torque curve is broad and flat, so when you're easing off the line with a loaded trailer, there's no lurch, no sudden shove. You simply roll forward with authority. The automatic transmission bolted to it is a heavy-duty unit designed for real hauling. Shift logic is smart enough to know when you're just cruising versus when you're dragging a trailer up a mountain grade. It holds gears when it should, uses engine braking intelligently, and keeps you from feeling like you're stuck in a constant hunt for the right ratio. The gas engine option exists for those who prefer simpler emission systems or who work in places where cold-weather diesel is more of a liability than a blessing. Either way, cooling is serious business here. Massive radiators, auxiliary coolers, airflow channels that look like they were built by people who actually towed something through a desert. And the exhaust brake isn't a token feature. It's progressive, controllable, and confidence-inspiring, letting you descend long grades with the security of knowing you're not cooking your service brakes. Four-wheel drive hardware is another cornerstone. This isn't some crossover-style slip system. It's a proper transfer case with low range, electronic locking differential, and stout axles designed to take abuse. The system offers an auto mode for those mixed traction days, but when you lock it into 4HI or 4LO, you know you're getting mechanical certainty. The front end is shielded, the underbody armored, and the breathers for the differentials are routed. High to resist water intrusion. This is a truck that can nose down a muddy two-track after rain and claw its way back out without drama. It's not pretending to be a dune racer, but it is a mountain goat with real grit. Hill descent control works with subtlety, allowing you to set a creep speed with the throttle rather than locking you into something unnatural. In 4LO, throttle response is so precise, you can meter out torque 1% at a time, letting you crawl obstacles rather than bash over them. Suspension tuning walks that fine line every heavy-duty truck has to navigate. Too stiff, and the empty. Ride is unbearable. Too soft in payload and towing stability suffer. The FMX 8CX4 finds a middle ground with a front setup that prioritizes control and a rear system that offers traditional heavy-duty leaf packs with the option for auxiliary, springs or air assist. Unloaded, yes, you feel expansion joints. This is a truck built for work, not a plush crossover. But body control is excellent. Hitched up and loaded, the suspension settles and plants, absorbing the mass rather than letting it toss the cab around. With optional continuous damping shocks, the ride improves further, smoothing out chatter and reducing porpoising with a trailer in tow. On gravel or washboard roads, the difference is noticeable. You feel less beat up, less worn down at the end of a long haul. Towing is where this truck makes its strongest case. Capability is massive, as expected, but the real magic is in the accessibility of that capability. The integrated fifth wheel and gooseneck prep package means no drilling or half-measure retrofits. Trailer profiles can be saved in the infotainment system, remembering brake gain, length, tire pressures, and even lighting preferences. Light checks can be done solo from the key fob or phone, eliminating the old dance of yelling at a buddy. To hit the brakes, cameras are sharp, with dynamic guidelines that account for trailer angle, not just steering angle, making backing up far less of a guess. Hitching solo isn't a circus act anymore. Zoomed views and overlays make it precise. Once you're on the road, the integrated trailer brake controller works hand in glove with the truck's stability and ABS systems, delivering confident, linear braking that keeps everything straight even if you have to stomp on the pedal unexpectedly. Trailer sway control is subtle, stepping in with the kind of gentle hand that reassures rather than startles. Step inside, and the cab tells you immediately this is a working tool first, but one that respects the fact that long days should not equal long discomfort. Seats are broad and supportive, with proper lumbar adjustment and long cushions. The driver sits high, commanding without feeling like they're perched. Materials are durable where they need to be. Surfaces you touch with dirty gloves are grippy and easy to clean, while comfort zones like armrests are soft enough for all-day use. The dash is laid out with honest usability. Big knobs for climate, physical buttons for essentials, a touch screen that responds quickly and doesn't lag. Smartphone mirroring is there, but you'll likely spend more time with the truck's native towing apps and camera systems, which are laid out clearly on the display. Storage is abundant and smart. Lockable bins under the rear seat, a center console that can swallow a laptop, overhead toggles pre-wired for auxiliary equipment, and deep door pockets with dividers. It feels like Ford took notes from people who live in their trucks. Technology serves a purpose here rather than existing for flash. Built-in navigation understands trailer routing, avoiding low-clearance bridges and tight turns. Trailer tire pressure monitoring shows live pressures and temps, giving you early warnings. Telematics are available for fleets, delivering maintenance, data, and driver metrics without being intrusive. Safety systems are tuned for heavy-duty life. Adaptive cruise accounts for trailer weight, blind spot monitoring extends to trailer length. Collision warning ignores harmless hitch sway but reacts when it matters. Lane keeping assist nudges gently, not like an overzealous nanny. Rear cameras are crisp, parking aids strong, and cross-traffic alerts sensitive enough to catch fast-moving cyclists. Daily driving isn't the main purpose of a truck this size, but Ford has gone out of its way to make it livable. Noise insulation is solid. The steering is light when parking, but steady and centered at highway speeds. The ride, while firm, is controlled, and the cab remains hushed enough for conversation at freeway pace. Long commutes are possible, and family use isn't out of the question. Climate controls are powerful and quick to react. Mirrors are large, with convex inserts for blind spots, and visibility is commanding. Sun visors actually block sun. The little things add up. Durability is always the long game. Here, too, Ford seems to have learned from years of customer feedback. Frame coatings are robust, wiring harnesses routed and sealed with care, connectors weatherproof. Service access is thoughtful. Oil filters reachable, drain plugs positioned cleanly, DEF fill at the right place, tanks insulated and heated. Diesel. Particulate filter status is visible so you know when a regen is happening and you can command one if you need. Gas versions are simpler to maintain, but both engines have been designed with long life in mind if maintained properly. Fleet operators will appreciate the transparency of maintenance data and the relative simplicity of servicing the basics.